stand right there.
Grown up as it was. It almost looks like someone's whacked it back, huh?
Yeah,
Whenever
they did.
we had to
They did.
get around it.
So the trail came this direction. This is the way it came. You see how big this tree's gotten and things? Yeah. There's a bunch of those along the way, and it's really bad to try to come that way. So, to continue the story, in March of '66, when Brother Harold McClintock and Brother Greene came up here, Brother Harold was back there. He was looking at all these rocks. He was trying to find this rock. They had a picture, a snapshot, that Brother Branham had taken with a 35mm camera, and they knew that somewhere up here they're going to find this rock, with the word White Eagle, because Brother Branham said on tape, he said there written in the rock was the word White Eagle Quartz, and that's how he worded it. And so they're looking everywhere, you know, and they're just for hours and hours, and it's kind of warm, you know. And so Brother Greene comes, and he comes on down the trail, and he knows that Brother Branham said he was on his way back. When he come back, he was standing right here. He looked up into the bluff, and when he did, he saw this eagle formation looking out over Tucson. And at that time, there was a mesquite tree here in this area, and the mesquite limb was still there in the same spot that Brother Branham was standing when he took that photo. So he was all excited. He said, "Oh wow, we found one of the places that Brother Branham took a picture." And so he turned around to tell Brother Harold. So he yelled, "Hey, Brother Harold!" And when he turned around to tell Brother Harold that he had found that formation, there written in the rock was the word eagle in white quartz. And it was like a little child had written it.
In small letters.
In very small letters. And
it was
not
an
caps,
E, not caps,
A, G, and it was a squiggly G and a squiggly L and another E about the same way. And it had brought Brother Greene basically to his knees. Well, Brother Harold thought Brother Greene got, maybe, bit by a snake or something, and he come running. "What's wrong, Brother Greene? What's wrong?" He said, "Look what the Lord has allowed us to find." So they didn't have but a really small camera, so they took a picture of it, and then when Brother Greene got back to Tucson, he calls Brother Billy Paul on the phone. He said, "Brother Billy, you got to come see what we found." So Brother Billy Paul came up, and then they took a whole bunch of photos. And then later on, as time went on, people started taking samples out of here. I mean, big chunks. You can see with the rocks where somebody come in here with a hammer, and it looked like somebody had shot it with a high-powered rifle almost. It was so bad. And then after several years, the word eagle started disappearing as people took samples home with them, which is really sad. It would have been nice. And I came in 1973, and the first time I was up here was the convention during that period of time, and it was gone. So we have photos, and I had a photo, and I forgot it in the truck. Sorry. But you can still see this formation in the picture when Brother Billy Paul and Brother Greene were standing here, and you could see the eagle.
Just chest high.
And it was chest high to Brother Branham. Remember, Brother Branham said I took my shirt off because I was hot. And he said he pressed his chest up against the rock. He said, "What are you leaning against?" Yeah, he was a little shorter than me. And so it had to be in this area here somewhere, see? Yeah. And then when he had taken a picture of that eagle up there, you can see the beak. You can see up in the top right-hand corner the eye. Yep. And then you can see the wingspan going down, and it's like he's perched on top of a rock. So back in the early 70s, some of the brothers took, because they found some marks here in the rock. They found where there were some drill marks, and I showed you some of those back there on the trail. And you can see a drill mark right here. Yep. You can see one there. You can see one over there, and there's one over there. And they took the measurements of this particular rock, a 70-ton rock, and they went down and measured that piece down there. It fit perfectly. So that piece that came all the way out to here, and when they blasted it open, it fell, it rolled a couple times, and it rolled upside down, and now the side that should be right here is on the bottom.
We wish we could turn it over.
We just hadn't found somebody big enough. Brother Ramon, how about you? Oh, we just need somebody to push it up a little bit so we could look underneath it.
Which one is it, Johnny?
That one right there.
The closest big rock to you.
This one right here?
That big one. And that's how they made these trails in those days.
There.
Yeah. I mean, they were rugged workers making, very, very little money, maybe $1 a day, if that much. Yeah. Maybe 80 cents. But they were glad to get the money. Well, when we realized that we had to find another trail to get down here, one of the young brothers, I didn't used to say young brothers, Brother Stephen.
I never did either. You and I were young ones.
So one of the young brothers got up there, and he found the German word for the strata is called gneiss.
Yeah.
And he found some gneiss up here on this one rock. It's in the shape of a sword. And we'll take you up there and show you that in just a moment. I got one testimony. I remember one year, about 25 years ago, I brought a young couple up from Atlanta, Georgia. And boy, they sure talk like real Southerners, you know. But it was hot. I mean, it was so hot. And they flew out here, you know, and they wanted to see Sabino. I didn't really want to bring them, but I did. I brought them up here. And because it just gets so hot, and people aren't used to it. And so we had several bottles of water, and there was no breeze at all. And the little girl, of all things, had a cold. Well, by the time, and we always come here first, and by the time we got here, she couldn't even hardly breathe. So I remember I remember saying, well, let's just pray for her, you know, that the Lord will help her, you know, and we just offered a simple prayer. And while we were praying, you could hear a breeze coming down through the canyon. You can hear the water right now. But when that went, it actually rustled our clothes as it came by. And, you know, it was nice. It was awesome. I mean, we were all crying, you know, and praising the Lord. When we opened our eyes, the little girl was gone. And we didn't know what had happened to her, you know. And the next thing you know, we hear, "Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I'm up here." And she ran all the way back up the trail and was up there climbing rocks. And the Lord had just healed her instantly. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Man.
But that's one of many, many stories, you know, coming up here. Can you imagine, Brother Branham said, I went down to get a drink of water, and I came back up on the trail.
You know, I mean,
I think if I went down, I'd probably stay down and kind of walk along the creek.
really, yeah, I think I would too. I mean, really, you think about how hard that would be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was so rugged, though. I
Yeah.
mean, my, such good shape.